Welcome to Service Six Sigma, a live stream for mobile service professionals. Great news! You're here early. Please stand by as our live stream is about to begin. Thank you. Did you know that Service Six Sigma has 6 sectors? Here they are: attract, convert, deliver, control, scale, and give back.
Hello, Ben here with Service Six Sigma. Are joining our live stream early to watch our pre-reels that we have on our live stream, and then we will start our show at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you.
He's a dentist. So as a service business, one thing that we can do to increase our revenue and increase the value of our customers is increase the amount of times that we service them. So window cleaning is really good at this. Carpet cleaning is usually pretty good at this. Pressure washing, depending on where you're at, could be challenging. But think about, I wrote dentist there, right? So think about it when you go to the dentist or you go to get your hair cut. When you're leaving that service as you're paying or before you pay, before you walk out of there, what are they doing? They're booking your next appointment.
John Carmazon teaches valuable insights into selling service bundles to customers. To watch the whole episode, visit www.service6sigma.com.
Back in June of 01, someone left me unconscious on the side of the road in a hit and run motor wreck. I lost my career in IT. I lost my savings. I lost a photographic memory. I was messed up. Fast forward a little ways to July of 2002. I have an eviction notice from our apartment. I have turned my BMW into the bank. I'm waiting on Italy to make parts for my Ducati. I am 2 weeks out of a full shoulder surgery. I'm in an isolation brace, a neck brace, and a morphine pump surgically implanted in my shoulder. I call up one of my buddies and I say, "Hey, will you come over and shake my couch out for me?" He laughs. He comes over. He shakes my couch out. I grab all of the change off the floor and ask him to run me to a dollar store. I buy a bottle of awesome window cleaner, the cheap stuff, and a roll of paper towels. I also buy an empty squirt bottle so I can water down the LA Awesome window cleaner. The next day, I shove my sling just full of paper towels, and I hook the bottle of window cleaner on my belt hoop, and I start walking down the road, going business to business, just simply stating, "Hello, my name's Brian. I'm poor, I'm hungry. I'd really like to eat tonight. May I clean your windows?"
Learn what happened next in Brian Hoyt's amazing and inspiring life story at service6sigma.com. We have many guests that we have on our show. Be part of a growing community of guest speakers and share your professional insight in the mobile service industry. Welcome to a free live stream built around 6 sectors. This live stream created for mobile service professionals. We would like to introduce you to your hosts, Ben Bergloff and Perry Tate. Welcome to Service Six Sigma, your live stream for mobile service professionals. We want to thank you for joining our show today. Please stand by as our show is about to start. Thank you.
Boom. You're muted, Perry. Oh no, what's going on? We can't hear you.
There you go. How
There we
about
go.
I unmute myself? This is our only podcast this week, and we've got an amazing guest to our Service Six Sigma. But Benji, yeah, put her up, the Jackie of all trades. I'm going to introduce her in a second. Here she is. Hey, but in the just before that, Leilani, I'm going to just explain what is Service Six Sigma. I'm just going to go to the 6 sectors, Ben. So what we did, and this is because Jack, I'm going to call you Jackie now. Leilani is a Jackie of all trades, and I want to just sort of let this be part of that. So we break your business into 6 sectors. So there's the attract, which is your prospecting. How do you find customers to be attracted to your business? Then you want to convert them, so that's your sales process. Then you want to deliver the tools. Deliver the service. So that's your tools, techniques, on-site management, on-site safety. And then once you've got that happening, it starts to get out of control, and you need to start automating some of it, And so, and then ultimately as much as possible, so that you control your CRMs and responsive bids and things like that. Having got to that, now you've got this whole thing working, and you've got a whole truck, just cracking along. Then you can scale. That's where you either add additional services or you add additional trucks with your services. And at some point, you've got enough experience in your business that you can give back to others, and that's what Service Six Sigma is really all about. Is this chance for us to interview people, meander through their personal and professional lives for the gems of what made the industry, work for them and them work for the industry. So, without any further ado, I'm going to introduce one of my favorite people in the world, is the Jackie of all trades, Miss Leilani, Mrs.
Miss.
Ma'am.
Oh, not ma'am. My mother and my grandmother are ma'am.
Okay. How
I'm
about
not a
just
ma'am yet.
the Leilani, the
There you go.
Leilani.
I like that one better.
How are you?
I am doing great. I am doing wonderful. As you can still see here, it's still kind of early where I'm at. So I'm sitting here in the front 9 offices. This is where I spend a good majority of my time, at least nowadays. I haven't been on the road this year, so. Yep.
Because you guys have got your mobile education truck, haven't you? Bus or whatever it is.
The Clean Classroom. Yep, that's actually been pretty amazing. This is our 2nd year that we are going full time with it. We've had some really great feedback. It's really nice getting out there and being with the contractors again, and just providing a quality education that'll help them, boost their businesses, expand their businesses, and help them grow even more.
Fantastic. I like that. When I was thinking of, I just love the Jackie of all trades, because you have been in this industry for way longer than you look old enough to be,
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah. 20 years, right?
Yeah, 20 years actually this year. It's kind of crazy. I kind of happened to fall in the industry. A mutual friend got me involved with somebody that she was working with, and he owned a pressure washing company here in Phoenix, Arizona. At that time. He has sold since then, but it was one of the largest pressure washing companies in the Phoenix area. All we did was commercial property management companies. So that's, just by chance, I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. He was looking for a salesperson. I had buku years of retail sales experience, not so much pressure washing sales experience.
Yeah.
But I figured it couldn't be too much of a jump, because you're basically dealing with the public and building relationships, and that's pretty much the foundation of sales, is building those relationships.
Yes.
So yeah, I started off as part-time, and before I knew it, I was on full-time, and I was meeting property managers and doing meetings and going door to door and selling pressure washing to commercial businesses. I literally,
Wow.
I spent an entire summer measuring the entire city of Tucson, and every shopping center I stopped at. I wouldn't only measure it, but I would actually go to all of the independent businesses that were in that shopping center as well, measure those, get the business cards, bring those back to the office, start doing the unsolicited bidding, all of that type of stuff. Back in the day, Google really wasn't a thing. I mean, it was to look up, find the directions here, or, it was basically a glorified Encyclopedia Britannica series.
Yeah.
There was no Google Earth where you could measure things and make it easy or anything else like that. So I literally, with the measuring stick, walked the city of Tucson, and I walked the whole city of Phoenix, every shopping center, any medical plazas, anything of that type of sort.
Business parks.
Yeah. Anything that dealt with the property management company, I was there measuring.
And what did you use were you using a wheel, or were you using?
Oh yeah, the old school wheel and stick.
You must have been as skinny as a stick back then.
Yeah, I pretty much had to watch my calorie intake and my water intake daily, especially in the summer here in Arizona, because it's 115, 17, and I was not in my car long enough to cool down. There was times where I would have to stop just for like 30, 40 minutes and just sit in the air conditioning, because I was just a puddling mess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how many liters, how many gallons would you drink a day? I know you guys talking.
Oh God. I would go through maybe 2 or 3. Wow. Yeah.
That's a lot of water, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but in Arizona, it's bad because you don't know how much water you've lost, because by the time it gets to your skin, it evaporates immediately. I would actually go home at night, and my entire collars of my shirts and everything would be crusty with salt from sweating just during that period.
Back then, did you know that you needed to add salts back into your diet?
Did
we know that?
Oh yeah.
Or maybe from Arizona, you know that, right?
Well, that, and I've always been, growing up.
Because I never got taught that.
Yeah, growing up, camping and stuff like that, and even in the Midwest and stuff. So I was kind of raised with that kind of stuff thinking in my head. You have to stay hydrated. You have to have, sugars in your system. You have to have salt in your system. Typically I would, and this is horrible, but I would get like one of those really sugary, syrupy juices, and I would drink that while I was drinking my water. So that way I'd get the sugars and the salts and stuff like that from the juices while I was getting the hydration from the water.
Wow. I do that with white, but I've got my, I don't know why they put color in it. That is not my pee. That is, that's electrolyte water. But I go, why do they put the orange in there? I mean, I'm racking my brains.
Yeah, they need to choose a different color.
Yeah, right. Yeah, anyway, I'm off to the pharmacy to say, can you find me some electrolytes that don't have color?
Yeah,
you're adding why do you want to put color in your body?
Right.
Unless you want to go hypo or ADHD or something.
Yeah, I also drink those. I used to also drink those Pedialytes too. Like if I started feeling like kind of icky, especially towards the later part of the afternoon, I would stop and I'd grab a Pedialyte. The children's Pedialyte that you give them when they're sick.
Yeah,
those all the time too.
Exactly that. Yeah,
they have the electrolytes. They have basically everything that you would need to rehydrate your body and stay rehydrated. So
you're probably lucky that your parent. I guess you went camping with your parents, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So because you imagine if you'd have been a retail sales girl from a little air conditioned retail store, and you hadn't got that knowledge, you might have only lasted a week in the job.
I don't even think
if you didn't know to rehydrate, right?
Oh yeah, I don't even think, especially in Arizona, I probably wouldn't have even lasted a week. Would have given myself 2 days.
You're just gone and go, I can't do this because my body can't. Yeah, amazing. Well, there you go. What a nice piece of serendipity of experience, because raising children. I know you've been a single parent. I've been a single parent. I'm currently behaving as a single parent because Ollie's mum's still working. And just how important it is to give the kids so many as much variety of experiential data, as possible, and because it later on becomes very much part of who they can be, and this is a classic little example of it.
Oh, exactly. I mean, I've literally been traveling with my daughter since, a couple months after she was born. I mean, that
Yeah.
kid honestly has been more places in this country than most, 50, 60-year-old people.
Yes.
I mean, she's literally been everywhere from the Florida Keys to, up north in Wisconsin, up in the snow. She's been through the mountains, the deserts, the oceans, the swamps. I've literally taken her
Fantastic.
everywhere.
How old is she now?
Oh God, she's turning 22 this year.
That's scary, isn't it?
It is beyond scary. And every time I see her, I just want to like put her back in my pocket and be like, you can't go nowhere.
She popped in for lunch and gave you a surprise today, right?
She did. And I love
saw that
it.
on Facebook. Yeah.
It was always one of my biggest fears, is when your kids grow up, you don't, you expect them to like fly the coop and not want to come back and not want to spend time with mom. I don't have that with my daughter. She calls me. She's like, I'm on my way over, mom. She comes over to my house 3-4 times a week.
Yeah, that's great.
She literally moved a mile away from my house just because she wanted to be close to me. And I absolutely love that. I value that relationship more than anything else in this world. I'm so glad I have that, not only that mother-daughter relationship with her, but that friendship as well,
Yes.
It's
what do you reckon is the key to that, Lalani? Because not everybody experiences, and I've got it with Harrison, which most people know. He and I talk at least an hour every day. When the phone call gets to an hour, we go, shit, we better stop and do something else. We talk.
I kind of put it towards respect. I mean, when she was growing up, I was a parent when I had to be a parent, but I always respected her opinions. I respected, choices that she made, even when she made bad ones. I let her make those, but when she did need my help and came to me, I would step in and help. But it was one of those things, like I said, growing up, I gave her a mutual respect.
Yes.
And I know a lot of times parents do that. They think of themselves, well, I'm the parent. What I say goes. I'm the law. No ifs, ands, buts, or questions about it.
Yeah. I read a T-shirt that changed the way I was going to parent, because I read it before I was a parent. So I'm going back a long time. And it said, there was a little kid who had a T-shirt on, and it said, when I was little, all they'd wanted me to do was walk and talk. And now all they say is sit down and shut up.
I was raised that way too. My family always, they used to always say that saying, and it used to just drive me up a wall when I was growing up, that kids should be seen and not heard.
Right.
That is like, every time
How bizarre is that? Yeah.
I literally, it makes me cringe, and I just want to like scream. It's like, how do you expect these kids to be, functioning people of society if they're never allowed to ask a question?
Right. Yeah. My metaphor was, that my kids are adults having a child experience, the humans having a child experience. So every time something came along, I would say to them, look, the challenge that you're facing is actually a human challenge. It's a life challenge. This is not, you're a child doing it. So some people will say, oh, this is, you want to tell a lie. Oh, you're a child, you want to lie. I go, wanting to lie never goes away, right? So you got to work out, are you going to be a liar, or are you going to be a truth teller, a truth believer? You got to work this out, because this is your training ground of being a child for being an adult. And then one day you're going to transition and become independent as an adult. And then you're going to walk through with these experiences and decisions that you've made as a kid, which we know is, we take to our grave, those early decisions that we make, those childhood, the inner child, sort of principle, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of funny. It's like, I trust children more than I trust adults, if that tells you anything. I trust a child to be honest with me before I'd ever trust an adult to be honest with me.
Right. Isn't that interesting?
Absolutely.
Isn't that interesting?
I can't help it. Children, they grow up to learn to lie. It doesn't come natural to them. Adults, their first go-to is to lie.
Right, right. Yes, if they haven't, I think that the world has been watered down, because there's an old saying which I grew up with, which is, my word is my bond, and my signature is my handshake is my signature. You don't need a contract with me. I mean, I will, to the best of my ability, and I can't always, because I'm always dreaming big, but to the best of my ability, I'll make things come true that I've said I will make come true. And if I can't, I'll just say I can't, and that doesn't make me a liar, because I really believe that I can.
And yeah, that's something actually that goes with sales too. I tell people, hey, I can try my best to get out to help you with the situation. Am I going to succeed? I don't know, but I will give it my best shot. And a lot of times people just want to see you make the effort.
Yes, yes. Have you spent your whole life in sales? Did you ever go on the tools?
The what?
Did you ever get on the tools? Did you ever do pressure washing?
Oh yeah, I've done pressure washing and stuff like that, but it was mainly just like, hey, can you help me out here? Need an extra hand here or there. Plus, I used to do the demos with one of our technicians when I was selling pressure washing to property management companies, because one of the biggest things that you want to do, especially with commercial, is get those demos, because demos sell. Whether it's a store manager, a restaurant manager, or a property manager, if you can get them to watch a demo and you can wow them, you're going to have that contract plus many more. So, we would go out and we would do those demos and things. And there was times where I got behind the surface cleaner. I got behind the wand. I'm not a fan of the wand.
Right.
I'm kind of small. So as soon as I hit that thing likes to kick me back about like 2 feet. And I'm practically leaning into it just so I can stay upright. But I don't mind the surface cleaner. The surface cleaner is fun. It's like a lawnmower. I grew up mowing lawns in Iowa. So it's not much of more of a difference. Walk slow. Keeping the line. Yeah. Not very
keeping
difficult.
The line. Yeah.
Don't
and
let
everything will look beautiful.
Spot, for a long period of time. Shut it off.
Yeah. 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 Exactly the same as a lawnmower. Exactly the same. That's great. Hey, how over 20 years, and realizing you came in with a large contractor, but how do you see the industry has changed over 20 years? Like what things have just stick out to you?
Really, I think it's the educational opportunities that contractors have nowadays. I mean, whether you're wanting to do window cleaning, you have, WCR, JRC, they're throwing events and classes, training events, things like that. If you're talking about wood or whatever, you have, Everett doing his thing with wood.
Yep.
House washes and stuff like that. You got Doug, especially, and then everything that we're doing with the cleaning classroom, with the inorganic stain removal trainings. And all of that type of stuff there's just so much education out there for contractors nowadays. 20 years ago, there was nothing. We pretty much had PWI, the bulletin board, not even like a Facebook group. It was literally a bulletin board, a forum that you logged in on. And that was your education. That was it.
And how long had that been there? Because I mean, even like if you go back, that could have only been there a few years, right? 20 years ago.
I think Ron started PWI I think it was 88 or 89.
Wow.
Yeah. I know they started PWI. I know it was around the same time when they started talking about, I think it was the PWRA and the PWNA being founded, way back in the day.
Right. Yeah.
PWI was, that's been around before any of them were. UAMCC.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of the daughter, she just sneaked in here.
Hello. 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 We've been talking about you.
Oh, really? All nice things.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. She loves you to bits.
Yeah, we're gonna have a Hamilton music night after this. So
fantastic. I love it. That's great. Well, so now Harrison's in China and I'm here in Thailand, and so Harrison has to jump on an airplane to come and play with Dad.
Oh. I'm sure he doesn't mind. Those beaches there look beautiful.
No, it's a wonderful place here. It's just wonderful. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, So, and also, I think that the other thing that's changed is probably the knowledge of chemicals and the application of chemicals, right?
Chemicals, and not only that, the equipment. I mean,
Uh-huh.
between the like we have the F9 sprayer, the chemical sprayer. Before it was always hand pumps and things like that. Technology is improving so much and so fast in our industry. I mean, just in the last 10 years, we've had things come across, like the proportioner systems,
Yeah,
the
the
different
proportion.
companies that do all of those. None of that even 10 years ago, that was a fallacy. Nobody even thought of anything like that.
Yeah.
And the different soft washing units out there. I mean, some of the technology that goes behind those is just awesome and amazing.
Yeah.
And that was all stuff that, we didn't have back in the day. It was literally surface cleaner and a wand.
See, classic. And
Yeah.
what about when you started? What was a powerful pressure washer?
Oh God,
3 gallon a minute.
yeah, I think what we were using, I know that we all had the Honda engines. They were the Honda, I think they were GX like 300s at first, and then we moved up to the 600s, if that just tells you how long ago that was. But then we always used the Landa surface cleaners, the ones that literally look like an old lawnmower that they took the engine off of and stuck a black cap on. But yeah, I mean, now it's completely different. You have, really clean surface cleaners. Yeah, variable pressure surface cleaners. I mean, every single tool that we've used in our arsenal, 20 years ago has improved so much. And it's made it so much easier on their bodies. Contractors are being able to work longer because their bodies
Yes.
are being brutalized every single day.
You got it. You're talking my language now.
Yeah, I mean, it's making it a lot easier for people to stay working longer, and it's easier to find people that actually want to work.
Oh, see, that's interesting. Yeah, because I was going to talk to you about that. Because originally I wanted to make this podcast. I've got the best boss in the world. About Craig. Because I wanted to talk about this thing where people say it's very difficult to find people to work in the industry, and I know there's definitely a challenge. However, I know that there's also a solution, and I've always said that some of the issues about manual labor is just how difficult it is, or how stressful it is on the body, and the boss doesn't really realize it because he's grown up with it, and he doesn't have the same low, like we grew up just doing stuff nonstop as kids with our bodies, playing in dirt and running around and blow up swimming pool and riding bikes around the neighborhood,
tree houses, yeah,
all that. Like, we were physical from day one, but the next generation just didn't get that exposure. Everybody's scared of the neighbor, and there are pedophiles everywhere, and I'm not saying there's pedophiles everywhere, but the fear is, I need to watch my kids, and they need to play in the yard. They can't play on the street. They can't go to the forest because there could be somebody there. And, so that their physical experientiality, I think is less than what ours was, so we go, oh yeah, we can just, we're just tough, and then the next generation is not as tough, but then when they get into a job that's stressing their bodies, they go, whoa, like that,
Yeah, I was talking to my cousin Ange a little while ago, and we were discussing like how we grew up versus how we raised our children. And they made the point, I was like, Ange, I'm like, if you think about it, we were basically raised feral. We were told as soon as we woke up, we were kicked the hell out of the house.
I love it.
Come back until nighttime.
till dark, yeah.
Till dark. I mean, our parents didn't know where we were. They had no clue where we were. We were literally, we would raid my grandmother's garden for lunch, or we would go eat the berries and the apples or whatever down at the creek. I mean, we did, like, as soon as the sun was up, we were out of that house, and we did not come back until the lights were like on completely. And then we'd have for dinner, and then they'd tell us to go watch TV. So it's not like we even had remotely like any sort of supervision. And I think that made us parents now more hyper aware. And so we kind of like, no, I need to know where you're at. I need to know where you're going. Why, it being raised feral. I mean, it was good for us, but it's like once we grew up, we didn't trust our kids to be raised that way.
Right, and we don't trust society to leave them alone either. You know,
No, not
we just
especially today
don't.
with the bullying. And I mean, there's always been bullying. That's always been a thing, but social media has just made it so much worse. And it's
Yes,
made our
yes,
kids so much more accessible to people that they shouldn't be accessible to.
yes, yes. I think that's a really major point. And then we become hyper aware of the risks,
Mhm.
which then blows them out of proportion. However, if you raised a kid feral by that description, which is hilarious, if you raised a kid feral today, you could be perceived as being an irresponsible parent.
If you try to raise a kid like our parents raised us, we would be in jail.
Right, there you go. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not even kidding you. Neglect, God.
But here's the weird thing, Leilani, is that not everywhere in the world is like that. China's probably more like that. But if you come to Thailand, the kids are just doing what kids do. Like the kids are like that, you know. They're
Yeah.
just all over the place doing whatever they want. They're just on their own doing what kids do. You know, there's not a parent or a grandparent sitting around watching them or anything. There is if they're near the water or whatever, you know, sometimes, not every time, you
I
know.
don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I know for a
I
fact
love
that,
it.
I mean, because of the way that we were raised, we had to solve problems for ourselves. We didn't have somebody saying this is the solution. So now,
Yes.
in our professional lives, when we come up against a situation or an issue, we don't panic. We're like, okay, what do
Mm,
we need to do to fix this? And then we start thinking, okay,
yes.
well, step one, is already done. We've identified the problem. Okay,
Yeah,
now
we know we have a problem.
we know we have a problem. That's step one. Step two, okay, what can I do to alleviate the situation? Is this a internal factor or an external factor? Now, it gave us those
Yeah.
skills to problem solve.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot of kids nowadays don't have that. Their decisions are all made for them, either through their parents or social media. Oh,
Yeah.
well, I can't do that because my friends will say this.
This is the one that bothers me the most is the perception of others driving the character of the person to the point that the person may never actually develop their character.
Exactly. I mean, we had to
You
know
know?
who we were. We had
Yeah.
to know what we stood
Yeah.
for. We knew a situation walking into it that, okay, yeah, that tree's a little too tall. The branches are too far apart. I really shouldn't climb that tree. But the one next to it, that one's game.
Right.
We
See?
developed that common sense that's lacking today.
Yes. 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 And the kid can go to Google and say, which tree can I climb? Which tree is the best tree to climb? And they could actually watch a YouTube video and see which tree to choose. But it's not the same. It's not the same as going camping and mom or dad pointing out, look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that. Like Ollie and I, after this, we're actually driving 4 hours north of here, and we're going for a 5-day scuba liverboard
Oh, nice.
on the Similan Islands. Yeah, so it's
Oh,
going to be super cool. So we're on a boat for 5 days,
that's
and
awesome.
and diving some of the most beautiful parts of Thailand. What they say is the most beautiful dive site of Thailand, and one of the dive sites is equal to any in the world, some rock somewhere. I don't know. So that's pretty exciting. But the maths and the science in scuba diving, for a kid, and then we go underwater in a whole new world. And he's allowed to dive basically 6 stories deep.
Wow.
So he's 6 stories deep. It's a long way down.
Yeah. That's like an office building.
It's a full office building, right?
Yeah,
that's how
in the
deep.
water.
That's how deep he's allowed to dive. I'm allowed when he's 15. I think he's allowed to dive deeper. But what happens down there is a whole new world. We see all these different forms of life. He's got his dive camera with a dive case and all that. So he goes around and we take photos and then we've got a fish recognition book, and then we come back up and we read about the different fish. But in the fish recognition book, it just doesn't say, oh, this is a flounder, this is a shark. It talks about how much, whether they're a predator or a prey, and whether they school or don't school, and whether they poisonous or not poisonous, and all that. So he's he's, and then the kid starts to join the dots, and you start to say, okay, well, these data points are relevant to animals, are relevant to humans, as well.
It's all learning through experience.
Mm,
And did you ever? I'm not sure because I know that you're not from here, but I remember being in school. And we used to take this test. I forget exactly what it was called, but basically it kind of described your learning set. Like some people learn visually, some people have more auditory learning, some people learn experience wise. I'm one of the experience type learners. Like I can read something, I understand it, I can comprehend it. But if I were to let's say not look at that book for 2 years and all of a sudden I came up against it again, I'm going to have to go back to that book and reread it. Same thing if somebody can tell me something, but if I'm not actually doing it, it goes away. So actually in doing stuff is where I learn and where I retain it. And so just that learning by experience. Now when he knows if God forbid, if something were to ever happen or whatnot, and he was in a situation, he knows what is poisonous, what isn't poisonous. He knows, what he can handle, what he can't handle. So that's all that good learning experience.
And the whole time you are at risk of dying.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
So we're diving with nitrox this trip. So, but he has to know his nitrogen levels. He has to know his oxygen levels. Has to know, what to do if this goes wrong, what to do if that goes wrong. It's really, it's like you're camping. Yeah. Follow the bubbles. That's right.
Yeah.
It's like you're camping. Yeah. It's like you're camping. Like when you talk about what you learned as camping, and I look at what Ollie learns diving, there's way more than, this is a tree and that's a bear, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, especially, being a little kid and, being in kids and stuff like that, anything that's somewhat type of a berry or whatever, you automatically want to eat. So I had to learn when I was a kid, young, okay, these will make you sick. You cannot eat this type of berry. Stay away from this type of tree, stay away from this type of plant. Poison ivy is no fun. Poison sumac is no fun. Poison oak is no fun.
There are certain leaves you don't want to wipe your butt with.
Exactly. You always want to see where you're squatting.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to be in a whole other realm of pain.
Another world coming.
Well, and I thought you had a lot of animals, snakes, bugs, spiders, different insects, and things like that. Like in Arizona, I mean, whether it's flora or fauna, everything in Arizona wants to kick your ass. I mean, most of our trees have 2 and 3 inch thorns on them, and these are trees.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And if you think about it, most of the bugs out here want to eat you. Most of the reptiles out here will eat you. And most of we don't get cute deer here in Arizona. We get mountain lions and coyotes and javelina, and all of that just wants to kick your ass. Like that's its main purpose. Like you step in its way, you're done. You are the boss. So it was kind of prey. First moved to Arizona because I was so used to Midwest rules, like stay away from timber rattlers, moccasins, that type of stuff. I come down here and I'm like, oh, hey, that's a pig. And they're like, no, you need to run. That's a javelina.
Wow. Isn't that interesting?
And these javelina have tusks on them that are 3 to 4 or 5 inches long, and they chase you. They are aggressive. These aren't the little pigs that you see in Iowa. They're all cute and you get to play with them and, put them back in the den. These are I will take your face off and eat it. So again, just that learning by experience. And, even taking that into sales, like when, cause I do some mentoring and stuff like that. And one of the first questions I ask somebody when they approach me to become their mentor is I'm like, how are you with talking to people? And then more times than not, I get the whole eyes down and they kind of tuck into themselves. And I'm like, okay, well, the first thing that you need to do is for this next week, 10 random strangers, I want you to just say hi and start a conversation. Ask them how their day is. Hey, say nice shirt, nice car, whatever. Strike a conversation with 10 people every day. When you're in the grocery store, gas station, whatnot.
Yes.
It gets them into the practice. Once you get into the practice of talking to people, by the end of that first week, you're like, I could do this in my sleep.
Yeah. That's
taking yourself out of that comfort zone and just learning as you go. Gain the experience.
Yes. Getting the experience.
Once you have the experience, the fear goes down.
Yes. Damn right. Hey, I also want to segue across to this because you've seen everybody in the industry over a long period of time. You've seen the people who are now the leaders of it. When I say not necessarily, but yeah, the leaders, but also people that are leading in our industry. You also saw them, were aware of them, watched them on bulletin boards, saw them at conferences when they were not so big,
Yeah,
right?
pretty much
But
all the major players nowadays. I've pretty much known them since the beginning. And it is so awesome just to see how well they're doing and just what they've been able to go out there and do. And I mean, I've seen, 4 or 5 of them on the little thing that you played at the beginning. And stuff, and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like, but
yeah,
it's so awesome just seeing that success, and not only just their business success, but their life success. I mean, some of these guys were single when I first met them, and now they have families and kids. And
yeah.
it's so awesome and just so amazing to see like what type of life that this industry has provided them. And it's
Yeah.
provided me. I mean, I literally
Yes.
raised my daughter in this industry. If it wasn't for this industry, I mean, I probably would have ended up somewhere, but
Yeah.
this industry has taken care of me, and I that's another reason why, I do the mentoring. I don't mind teaching the classes. I love teaching the classes. This industry has given me so much. It just feels right to give back. And if, I
Yes.
can contribute just a little bit of my knowledge and help somebody, then it's all worth it.
At a personal level, because I want to segue, I want to jump onto this one because, as by way of encouragement, is that both you and I had highly experiential childhoods and run high experiential parenting. Now, this is not about the older guys now, but the guys that are in that really busy stage where they're very ambitious and very dedicated to growing their business and being successfully financially, but to try and just draw that little essence of what we just talked about is that giving your children experiential time, like providing money for them to stay at home and play on their iPad is not, it's not what they need. And because the thing which I was just talking to somebody earlier today, and I'm just going, enough. When is enough, right? If you need to be a parent, I think you need to also think, when is enough? Have I got enough to be a good parent right now, rather than not have I got enough to retire? Because we get put on this treadmill to, I want to be the biggest, and I want to be seen to be the biggest, and I want to have more trucks than that guy, and that guy's doing better than me, but I'm better than him, and the personalities of our industry.
Oh yes.
But we should encourage them just to take some time, because the rewards, you've got a daughter who really is lovely and close to you. I've got a son who's really lovely and close to me. And we put the time in, So I want to just dwell on that from your side, because you've seen it all. You've seen it all, and the characters, and that type A personality, drive, ambition, must win, and sacrifice, family time for that. So what would you say?
It's one of those things that, I always tell people, especially with the newer guys that I'm mentoring and things like that, I'm like, when you're with your family, shut it off. Like, that is your family time. Shut the business aspect part of your brain off. Because if you don't, you're going to burn yourself out. 1. 2, could possibly lead to divorce. 3, most likely child estrangement.
Yes.
No matter what you do success-wise in your business, if you don't have your family with you, none of that means anything.
And that's
you got more
all
money,
of your
but
family.
you literally
It's not
lost
just
your family.
Not just your wife, right? It's also your kids,
Exactly. It's your kids, it's your whole family. That should be like, even when, with Jade growing up, whether I was working in this industry or in my retail industry, when it was me and my daughter's time, the phones went away.
Yeah.
I didn't answer work calls because that was her time. Everybody else gets me 80, 90 hours a week. This child gets me for 3-4 hours a night.
Yes.
So those 3-4 hours a night, I'm going to make it damn worthwhile. We're going to watch movies. We're going to laugh. We're going to paint toenails. We're going to dress up and be silly. We're going to go out to dinner. We're going to, whatever she wants to do. But that's what my focus was, because after work, she is my other priority. And actually, she is my number 1 priority. All this stuff with work, allows me to be able to take care of my number one
Mhm.
priority. And people forget
Mhm.
that. People start getting a little bit of success and they just want more and more and more and more and more. And they're
Mm.
like, oh, well, my family's always going to be there. They love me. That's not always,
Right.
I mean, they love
And
you.
I'm
Yeah.
providing, we've been trained to think, from a male point of view in a stereotypical sense in today's world. We're taught to provide, and if we're providing, we're doing what we need to do. And then, of course, remembering that with a little bit of introspection, realizing that we're incredibly ambitious and possibly arrogant.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not touching that one.
And so, and also because we're our own boss, if you're the boss and the operator of the same business, then you have no accountability.
None.
Without a mentor. If you don't use a mentor, if you're the boss and the operator goes to the boss and says, what do you reckon, boss? I reckon this is a really good idea. And the boss says, hell yeah, if you thought of that, that's a great idea. Let's do it. So in a big company, it doesn't happen like that. There's actually real bosses and real operators. But in our style of business, we are the boss and the operator, and we go, yeah, good operator, good boss.
Yeah, and sometimes we have to. They forget to take that boss hat off,
Mm-hmm.
and that is so important. Not only just for their family life, but for their own sanity. And these guys drive themselves to the grave. I mean, God, guys are having heart attacks at 50 years old because they've literally killed themselves on the truck.
And also, and we've had a few guys on Service Six Sigma already who've talked about depression.
Mm-hmm.
There's a load of guys who experience depression, but when you dig deeply into depression, of course there is a clinical depression, but we don't know which came first, the clinical depression or the depressing yourself, right? Yeah. So if you depress yourself long enough, you may end up a clinical depressed person, just like if you drink sugar long enough, you'll end up a diabetic,
Right.
But some of that depression is the comparison with others. I'm not as good as I should be. I'm not where I should be. I'm not doing, and then I'm failing this person. I'm failing that person, isn't it? Like you see that also. And I think, again, the target is too high for who you are and what you're able to do at that time. And then you're sacrificing everything to reach something that's not really attainable for you at this time, for whatever reason. Luck hasn't come your way or skill is not there, isn't it? Like, and so you see those guys, two beautiful people, successful, but experiencing, it's much better to say experiencing depression, that they're not as good as they want themselves to be. And I think that's also sad. And that's going to reflect on their children, how experiential, because I need to do more. And then they divorce themselves from their family in order to be thinking they're doing the things that'll get them less depressed, but actually they're doing things because then they fail their family and then they get more, you know what I mean?
Exactly. No, this industry is hard. It is hard on your body. It is hard on you mentally. It is hard on you emotionally. And you need that support system around you. Without that support system, I mean, it takes everything and makes it 100 times harder, because you don't have that sense of security or comfort when you walk through your door.
Right.
All you're thinking is like, I got to get that next job. I got to get that next job.
Yeah.
So then anxiety starts happening. Then when you don't get that job, the depression kicks in and you have nobody else there around you. It's just you.
Yes.
You're literally stuck in your own head. Even the single guys out there, I tell them, go out with your friends, make it a rule that at least one night a week, the business calls get shut off and you go out there with your friends, go to a bowling alley, go watch a movie, go do something. Your life cannot revolve around this industry 100%, or otherwise you are literally going to kill yourself. You're going to be depressed. It's going to affect your mood. It's going to affect your diet. And then it's going to affect your health.
Yep. And then your relationships, like if you're not happy, how the hell do you think you're going to attract, the superwoman that, you're looking for in your life or something,
Exactly. Misery attracts misery.
Yes, doesn't it?
Like happiness attracts happiness. People, when you're happy, people want to be around you. When you're miserable, people don't want to be around you. So it's always good to, self-care is really important to me.
Yeah, nice.
you know, I'm guilty of it too. You know, back when Jade was really young and stuff like that, I was working 80, 90. Sometimes I'd work 100 hours in a week. And
Yep.
I would do that for 2 or 3 weeks. And by the time those 2 or 3 weeks were up, I was literally like just a puddle on the floor. There was like nothing
Yeah.
left in me. I had nothing left to give anybody. So working
Yeah.
yourself to the bone isn't going to make you successful. It's just, you might have a little small, you know, quick success, but the longevity of that success is going to tank because you cannot keep
Yeah.
that pace, especially without a support system for that long. There's just no
Yes.
way you can do it.
Yes. Who? So you're mentoring people for sales, right? Are you doing that like as Leilani or as part of Front9?
Just Leilani. And I don't do it very often. It's normally, you know, contractors that I've known for a while and stuff like that, and they just need a small amount of help. I also do some stuff with the unsolicited bidding and the data mining and things, just because that's not something that, you know, contractors normally come in from, because they don't come from a like secretarial background or something like that, where they're used to dealing with, you know, finding information and going after information. So I do a lot more with that, especially with the data mining. You know, and it's funny because like after I go through it with them, they're like, really, this is it? Like, it sounds so scary, and they're all like apprehensive. But then when we start doing it, they're like, you've got to be kidding me. This is literally it. And I was like, yeah, this is it. This is what you were scared of. And they're like, I could do this all day and night and not even like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Again, it's that whole, they've already got themselves so hyped up that they're afraid to do it because they're afraid to fail. It's like, don't.
Yes.
I learned more from failure than I've ever learned from a win.
So Leilani, where does that come from that we can be so excited about failing and other people cannot? What do you reckon that where does that come from, or what do we say to the people who are scared of failure? You know, because I think you should be. Everybody's going to be. They're all of our audience are business owners, right? And I can tell you, I'll just add this little story. There was a time before I did a course called Landmark Forum that I and NLP, actually Neuro Linguistic Programming as well, both of them together, that I was definitely a risk averse character. I was a risk taker that was risk averse, and I would go out and take risk, and then I would get incredibly anxious because I'm risk averse. Do you know what I mean? So when I talk about fear of failure, fear of success, fear of failure, I've lived that, and then I've done a few courses, right? That snapped that completely, you know, and put me in balance. But I was out of balance, you know, so my whole life was driven and anxious, you know, like that.
No, yeah,
So,
and that's the majority of people out there. You know, I'm the same way. I have anxiety anytime I do something new as well, because I don't know if it's going to, you know, succeed or not. But it's one of those, I just always keep it in the back of my mind that if I fail, then I'll be able to actually take a more up close look at the situation and see why it failed, and then learn from that. And again, that's dealing with external factors or internal factors. Was it something that I'd done? Is it something that I didn't quite understand? Or was something influenced that made this happen?
right. So it was out of your control then.
It was out of
it's
my
coming in
control.
externally.
But at the same time, I want to know that this was the cause, because the next time I go to try this, I'll know to look for that.
That's the expect the unexpected, and actually what you're describing is Six Sigma, right? The process of Six Sigma is the systemization and process, creating of systems and processes around things that go wrong, which is developed as things go wrong. In other words, you can't actually know everything that can go wrong, and if you did, you wouldn't do anything. So you've got to be a little bit of a bull at a gate and gung ho. But as soon as something goes wrong, you create a system of process recognition. You know, what am I going to do in the event to prevent this? What am I going to do in the event it happens again? Like that, isn't it? That's actually what Six Sigma business is.
When I first started building websites, like the first 2 I built, I basically built them to fail, because I wanted to know, okay, well, if this situation arises, how do I fix it? And I can't fix it unless I break it. So I literally, like the first 2 websites I built them to break. And then I learned, and now it takes me 2 or 3 days, and I can have a contractor's website completely up and full and running, and everything's perfect.
Yeah. There you go.
And then if a situation does arise, more times than not, I know that, okay, well, we just had this group of updates come through, so I guarantee there's probably something in that update that screwed something up, and more times than not, it's a simple, quick go in there and fix type thing. So, and, and sometimes it's good, do something just to fail, just so you can learn.
Yes. Yeah, it's hard to it's a hard concept. It's a hard concept.
It is. Nobody likes failure. Nobody wants to see themselves fail. Nobody wants to see something that they have poured their blood, sweat, and tears in be unsuccessful.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. You've got to take all of those little failures, all those little things that went wrong, line them out, write them down if that's what you have to do, and then start going through each one of them one by one. Okay, what can I do next time to make sure that this issue doesn't happen? Come up with a solution, check that one off. Okay, this also happened. What do I need to do for that not to happen again? Again, find a solution. And you don't have to come up with these solutions yourselves. That's another thing that I try to stress, is that in this industry, we are one huge, giant, screwed up, dysfunctional family. So if you fail, do not hesitate. There are so many groups out there that can help you. There's so many contractors in your local market that'll help you. There's so many gurus out there, whether it's Pat or John or you or me or, Ron or Craig or whoever it is. You reach out to us, we'll help you.
We will.
It doesn't have to be
100%.
done on your own.
Yes.
There's so many resources in this industry. And then that's another reason why I love all the different education there is now. Because all of that education is resources for failure.
Right. Exactly.
I screwed up this deck. I better go take Everett's class.
Right.
Or this new house paint just completely was decimated because I house washed it. Maybe I should get with Trudy and go to one of her events, because I know she's the expert when it comes to these natural pigment paints and pressure washing.
Yes.
Or,
yes.
hey, I completely ashed the sidewalk to all hell trying to remove a rust stain. Maybe I should get a hold of Craig or Lonnie and see, what I did wrong and how I can fix this and not do it again.
Yeah.
Window cleaning, they got Doug App.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people in this industry that is willing to help. It's amazing. So yes, failure in this industry, I mean, it's scary. It is. There's no way around it. Failure is always scary, but you have the resources to make it better, to help, to grow. Because that failure, it might have happened. It might have been bad, but guess what? You're never going to do it again, especially if you reach out to the people who can help you.
Yeah, who know the right way to deal with that particular situation.
Exactly.
I think that what you're describing also, like, Craig, your boss, Craig, is a young guy, but he's built an incredible business. And I don't know a whole lot about it, Lalani, but what I know from a perception point of view is that he is the guy that just systemized everything in a way that a contractor could understand it. And
that's right here.
Right.
This literally actually, you can tell I was actually on a customer service call today, because this is the page it was open.
Oh, lovely. Classic.
I can't memorize this whole thing. So yes, when you call in for customer service, more times than not, I'm looking in the cookbook.
Wow.
But no, I mean, he literally wrote the book. I mean, how more amazing can you get than that? I mean, and the book is written from this concept. So this is what I want to try and, draw this parallel, because the people, when you watch people who are successful, the question is, how do you get the gem out of their success that I can apply to my business? And this is one of the classic examples that, when we meander through the conversation, that we come to this, the fear, the failure, the fear of failure, what you do when you fail. And what you do when you fail is you write a system and process to avoid the failure again. And what Craig has done is written the book on literally all of the things that have gone wrong. How old is Craig now? 46, 47? Somewhere right around there. I don't want to give out his real age.
That. No.
But tomorrow with an angry boss.
But he's got to be what, 15 years in the industry. I don't know. He and I talked extensively at one point, but
yeah, no, he's been in the industry for, God, I think probably a little bit longer than I have, or maybe
long time.
Yeah.
And then it seems to me that he just, by his character, by his nature, which is where we end, if we're lucky, we end up in a place where our character and our nature serve us so that we can serve others, But he's obviously got this natural thing about saying, this went wrong, I need to stop it from going wrong again, and then the total sum of all of those end up in this thingy called the cookbook, and that cookbook becomes the thing that makes, I guess, Front9, such an incredible company, organization.
It does it. I mean, Craig, even for the reason why I started Front9, he got injured by using some other products that were, the norm in our industry back in the day, and he ended up in the hospital, severely injured, over $100,000 in hospital bills and things like that. And he basically was like, okay, I can't do this again. What can I do to make this safer for not just myself, but for my employees and for other people? And he got to work. He got with the blender, got with the, the chemist and stuff like that. He has a chemical background himself, and he got to work. He created Front9 products.
Yes.
I mean, if you want to talk about failure to success.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Right. And that I can completely, just knocked my own computer. I'm talking with my hands, you see, because it excites me. When you look at what people did right from what went wrong. You know what I mean? I'm not a silver spooner myself, and the people who get the chance, even my children, or certainly Ollie will get a better chance, with a running start. You'd think, but I didn't have that, and I don't guess that Craig had that, and then you watch him do it, and he's just done it, and he's done it in such a way that it serves others more than it serves himself. So it's kind of very very natural, isn't it?
Well, and like I said, one of the main reasons why, I came on with F9 and I wanted to come on with F9 is because, Craig is very contractors first. Customer service is one of our number one priorities here at this company. I've spent, over an hour on the phone in my 8-hour workday just helping somebody through a job. And, that's the type of person that I want to be associated with. That's the type of person that who owns a company that I want to be associated with. And I am extremely proud to be a part of Front9 just because of everything Craig has built and the level of customer service and contractor education that he has provided since he literally started this, started Front9 even before then. He was on the boards answering questions and things like that. It's been an amazing opportunity for me, and I couldn't be happier where I'm at. And it's all
that's nice.
Like I said, the contractor relations. So I like teaching, I like helping contractors. I like hearing their success stories. I like hearing, hey, I showed up here and I had 38 cents, in my account. I came back from your class and I did some unsolicited bidding. I now have, 2 jobs that are, $700 one, $1,200 another one. So I love that. I love feeling like I'm part of their success. I help them, and that's just a great feeling to me.
And is that what's your role at Front9?
Oh my goodness. Well, this kind of goes back to my jack of all trades here.
Yeah, right.
I pretty much handle everything. Customer service, vendor relations, dealer relations, contractors, customer service. I work on our website. I handle our social media. There's logistics. I'm the one that handles all of our logistics. I even have my IMG certification, so we're able to, transport hazmat materials. So I deal with trucking companies and things like that.
Wow.
Contractors. Like I said, I pretty much am the Jackie of all trades in this industry.
Yeah.
And I really am here at F9. I teach classes as well. But yeah, no, I mean, I literally do a little bit of everything, except for like our invoicing and stuff. That's all done by our controller, Johnny, who's amazing. That woman is on top of her game, like more than I've ever seen anybody in the accounting field on top of their game. I would not want to go up against Johnny any day of the week if I was some tax, like auditor or something like that.
Yeah.
Like your hell client, if that was the case.
That's great.
No, I mean, we have a really good team here with the 3 of us, and it works well. And I'm really proud of what we've been able to do with F9, and especially with the cleaning classroom and getting out there and being on the ground with the contractors and, just hearing feedback from them, what they like about the products. even introducing the products to them. You know, you have guys that are
Yes.
using muriatic
Yes.
acid and they've been hurt before, but they were still using it, and they didn't realize, you know, that you could use bark or effluent for some of those jobs where it's, you know, it's safer for you to use, safer for your employees to use, and you're not going to kill yourself with it.
Right.
And, you know, just the whole
Thank
like
you.
chemical safety aspect of it as well. We're really big about chemical safety, you know, wear your
Yeah.
respirators, goggles, masks,
Yeah.
you know, if you're in an enclosed area, stuff like that, make sure you have plenty of ventilation. You know, it's kind of just like all around. It's like I get to deal with sales, I get to deal with contractors, I get to teach, I get to, you know,
Yeah.
I get to do a little bit of
Amazing.
everything that I love.
Hey, if somebody if somebody hasn't heard of the cleaning classroom,
Mhm.
where do they go? Do they go to your website, or has it got its own website?
You can go to our website and click on the events link. You'll see it there, or you can just go to its own website. It's just thecleanclassroom.com. You'll
Yep,
see all of our upcoming events.
thecleanclassroom.com.
Yep, thecleanclassroom.com. You'll see all of our upcoming events. I think right now we have them online until June, and then he's going to take a couple months off to spend the summer with the kiddies and stuff like that.
Yep.
Because he's an amazing dad, so you know he's got to get the little bit of summer with the
Dad
kids.
time.
I
Yep,
think the daughters
100%.
would rebel if he didn't.
Good.
But yeah, so he's going to spend a couple months with the kids, and then we'll start back up more on the East Coast. We pretty much did some of the Midwest and then the East Coast from January on. So now it's going to be, we're going to be going to the West Coast. I think we're going to be doing one in probably San Diego again, somewhere probably around LA with JRC again. I think this year we actually might even get up to like the Washington area, because we actually just brought on Windows 101, which is a really big window cleaning dealer.
Yes. Yes.
They just came on recently as a dealer, and now Manny is interested in holding an event up there. So we're going
He's
into
got a big property
areas.
too. Yeah.
And we're going into some new areas this year where we really haven't taught before, but we're still going back to some of our hometown people as well.
Nice.
You know, we always support the ones that support us. So we got to go back and make our appearance and stuff like that. But no, the cleaning classroom has actually really been great. You know, attendance has been great. Just seeing the ambition that these guys have to take their businesses to a whole nother level is amazing.
Right.
You know, we have guys, and it's such a great mix too, because we have guys that don't even have a company name that sign up, that are in the process of like starting their company, all the way to guys that have been in the industry for 10 and 15 years, that they've dabbled with the inorganic stain removal, but they've never really got into it because it's a niche. It is, and it's
right.
as easy as just going and, you know, turning on the proportion of your software system, turning the house down and driving away. There's techniques and processes and things like that you have to follow. So it's just great to see that eclectic mix of new guys versus the veterans, and it's awesome watching them network. And you know, I mean, more times than not, you know, they'll be like, hey, they're exchanging phone numbers before they leave the event. Be like, hey, if you have a job you can't handle, you know, call me. You know, seeing that camaraderie, it's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's the best part of the industry, actually. You know,
it really is,
because the friendships, you know, like you and I don't know where we met. UAMCC, obviously somewhere, you know, but you know, the friends that you can find from being at those events, and some of those the small ones. I imagine. What is cleaning classroom? What is it called?
The cleaning classroom.
Yeah, the cleaning classroom. So what does that draw normally? Like 50 people? Is that a good crowd?
We can have small classes. We've had as small as like 9-10 people, but we've had them all.
Yeah, there you go.
40, 50 people, 60 people.
Yeah.
I think last year at the PWNA when we were there, we had like almost 70.
Yes. So if you get a chance, this is what I want to say for this, because if you get a chance, because I used to do some of the small ones as well, and we used to do some small ones, and if you get a chance to go to a small one, you've got a higher chance of finding, you've got a better chance of finding rapport, isn't it? You know, compared to, like, everybody should go to the huge. Everybody agrees with that. But if you go to the smaller ones where there's 10 to 50 people, you are going to swap phone numbers with somebody who is relatively local, who will become, you know, close to you. And then you go to the big ones, and you'll find people who are not in your competitive area, who are going to help you in a different way because you can't compete with them, you know. But it's definitely worth mixing them up, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I always preferred the smaller, like round table ones. I think you just get more out of them.
Yeah.
You have more one-on-one time with the instructor. You're not trying to fight with the instructor's intentions. The smaller groups, if you need a little bit more time on, a certain subject, you can go ahead and take that at time. But when you're at those huge, they're in such a strict time schedule that it's kind of hard to get that little bit of extra that you need.
Yeah.
But at those small regional events and roundtables, that's where I think most of the best networking happens. And that's where some of the best education is at those smaller events. The big ones are great too, don't get me wrong, especially if you're in the industry and you're not sure about vendors. Going to the big expos like the PWNA or the PWMCA or the huge, those are great if you want to get to know the vendors of your industry. Although it's been kind of annoying the last couple of years, I've been seeing that they've been having more like business type vendors than actual like equipment style vendors.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I think the last one I went to, I counted 6 credit card processing ones.
Yeah, we don't like we went to the huge last year, but we stopped going to the expos a lot because we were from overseas, so it cost us a lot more. And it took more time out, and then we got jet lag on the way, both on the way there and the way back. So it's demanding.
And you need like 3 days just to fly in and get like resituated.
So like when it's a 12-hour difference, it's about your body adjusts by about an hour a day. So it's actually brutal. But 3 or 4 days. I brought Harrison in for the huge last year. 5 days early. He went, boar hunting and did a whole lot of things down in Florida with another friend of ours. Anyway, so I think that there's more, it's more difficult in those big expos even as a supplier, especially for us because we're not local, and then when you get the vendors that are reselling, then obviously they're carrying, their stand is divided. There's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, a little bit of this. They're not as focused as a manufacturer would be. Like when you have your stand, you've got your stuff. When we have our stand, we have our stuff. Yeah, but if we put our stuff on somebody else's stand, then it's just part of the stand. It's not. They don't have. There's not passion. I love passion. That's we only want to deal with passion. So anyway, that's enough about me. Hey, I know you've got date night with your daughter. I am going scuba diving. So I think if you're good, I'm good.
I'm good.
Benji?
Thank you for this opportunity, Perry. I appreciate it. I miss you, especially at the events and things like that. And I'm so happy you are enjoying Thailand, even though I don't like you because I'm madly, insanely jealous.
Yes, well, you can come over.
Yay! I'll be there.
Bring the daughter.
I have to bring the daughter.
No, definitely. Bring her. 100%. 100%.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Be amazing. Yeah. All right. Fantastic. Yeah, I love it. I think it's amazing, and I think we should talk again for sure soon.
Anytime. I'm more than willing, and I'll get Craig to come on here, and you guys can talk front 9 until you all both are blue.
Yeah. I've left that on the side, right? Because I thought if I start talking about that, he may say, "Oh, Leilani, you do it." But I go, no, we want it.
No, we'll get the man, the legend, the Mr. Harrison. We'll get the real deal.
Great.
Get him on here.
Wonderful, fantastic.
All
righty.
Right, well, it was
Let's
very
go
nice
and have fun.
Ben.
You too.
Oh, you've got the best sound of all of us, Ben.
Do I?
Yeah.
He's got the professional setup there.
Yeah, he's got all the gear. Yeah.
All right.
Classic. All right. Lovely, Leilani. We'll see you soon. Okay.
Right.
I'll chat with you on Messenger. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you for watching or listening to another Service Six Sigma podcast. If you enjoyed the content, please like and share with other mobile service contractors. We live stream daily, Monday to Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. All previous podcasts are available for viewing at service6sigma.com. And for listening on your favorite podcast channel, just search Service Six Sigma. See you next time, and you have an epic day.